So it's the year 2020 and you have just done your very first online tutorial because, Corona crisis and you've got a lot of time on your hands. And now you think to yourself, you're going to become the next Ansel Adams or Annie Leibovitz. You need a camera. What's up, guys? How's it going? My name is Henry Marsh, and welcome to another episode here on my YouTube channel. I'm going to be trying to do a lot of these in the coming weeks. We've got a lot of times on our hands. But anyways, as I mentioned, you're probably looking to buy a camera sometime soon, and I often get asked this question as to what camera should I buy if I'm looking to get started into photography. And I'm going to be dead honest with you right off the bat. If you don't have more than 10,000 Rand to spend on buying a decent camera, honestly, just use your cell phone. Seriously, any new cell phone that's been bought in the last 5 years is 100% capable of creating awesome imagery. And you probably just need to download like a small app of some kind to escalate your images to the next level. Like, cell phone cameras are so good. They're so much better than any digital camera that's come out in the before the last 5 years. So like 10 years ago. Brilliant. It's really well known that a lot of the top Instagram photographers started off just using their cell phones. And as the age-old adage that I suppose was coined by Chase Jarvis says, the best camera is the one that you've got with you. There are plenty of really fantastic apps out there that you can use on your cell phones to up your photography game. And I've personally used the Lightroom app, but you may need a subscription of some kind to be able to access that on your cell phone. Otherwise, I've also had really good experience with the Moment app. You can download all of these from your native app stores. I'm on the iPhone, so I use the App Store, and yeah, great stuff. Next up is buying secondhand. I would honestly recommend buying gear secondhand. I've bought so much photography equipment over the last 10 years that has been secondhand. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with buying secondhand. It is a really great way of getting into photography and not spending a lot of money. A good place to look for camera equipment secondhand is something like your local Facebook classifieds. There's a whole bunch here in South Africa, and you can even look at your local camera shops classifieds or used gear selling lists. We've got Outdoor Photo and Cameras that I both know have used gear and classifieds sections to their websites. So if you're looking at buying secondhand, I can honestly recommend getting something like a 5D Mark III, a Canon 5D Mark III, or a Fujifilm like X-T2 or X-T3, or even a Canon 6D or a Canon 5D Mark II if you haven't got enough budget for the others. These are really fantastic cameras and used by industry professionals still today. I know guys who are shooting campaigns on the original 5D Mark II. So yeah, if you can find them on secondhand sites, classifieds, they're really great cameras to buy. And you can pair this up with a 50mm lens, even a nifty 50, what they call the f1.8 lenses are great. You can buy these brand new for like 3.5 grand. So yeah, check that out. I personally started my career off with a 6D and a 50mm lens. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with going that route. The other alternatives are something like a Fujifilm X-T3 or an X-T2 with like an 18 to 55mm kit lens. Honestly, that f2.8 to f4 kit lens is probably the best in its class. There is nothing that compares to the Fujifilm kit lens. So if you can pick that up secondhand, it's also really great. If you're more into the wildlife photography, I would honestly suggest getting something like a 7D or a 70D Canon. Again, I must be honest, I don't have much experience with any of the other camera brands, but the Canon 70D or even the 7D, if you can find it, really fantastic wildlife cameras. And if you pair this with a 70 to 300mm lens, which you can find quite cheaply, even brand new, you can really set yourself apart in terms of the wildlife game. I know that there are a lot of guys who like to use the 100 to 400mm lens. You can pick these up also secondhand for like 10,000 Rand. And I personally have one of those, or I think I actually recently sold it to my brother, and it's a great lens. We use that in Botswana now. A lot of his photographs are taken with that lens, and fantastic setup, and you should be able to pick it up secondhand quite cheaply. If you are 100% dead set on buying a brand new camera, then you should probably look at something like the Fuji system. They are some of the best cameras on the market at the moment, and they're a lot cheaper than their full frame equivalents. Something like on the Sony side, the A7 III, or on the Canon side, the Canon EOS R, even R5, which I think is coming out at some point. Yeah, the Fuji system is really cheap, and you can pick up like an XT100 for under 20 grand, brand new. As I said earlier, like finding an XT2 or XT3 secondhand are also really, really great. A lot of people are going to tell you that full frame is better than crop sensor. I think at this day and age, there's not a hell of a lot difference between the two. Full frame, you're just getting a different look compared to the crop sensor. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with the Fuji system. On the Canon side of things, I'd probably look at buying an ATD with, again, a 50mm lens. If you're into portrait photography, this is going to make you very, very, very happy. Now, remember, this is not a dead set exhaustive list of all the best camera gear out there. A lot of the camera gear that myself and a lot of professionals in my industry use are 30, 40, 50,000 Rand plus. This is really just a list of camera gear that if you're looking to get started, you want to get into photography right now, you've taken an online course, you think you know a little bit about photography, and you want to get into the nuts and bolts, getting to use a camera, sorting out the settings, playing with the manual settings. These are really, really great places to get into it. So in summary, if you no longer want to use your cell phone and you think you need something that's just slightly better, something that's just going to take your photography to the next level, then I would honestly suggest looking secondhand. And if you desperately don't want to spend money on a secondhand camera, then look at something like the Fuji system. Yeah, they're really, really great cameras. If you desperately want something brand new, I would highly recommend not spending anything less than about 20,000 Rand. You're not going to find something that beats your cell phone unless you're getting into something like wildlife photography. And even then, I would suggest looking at secondhand in that ballpark figure of between 10 and 20,000 Rand. You will find really, really, really fantastic equipment. So if you think I have not given a great representation of camera gear, drop me a comment down below and we can fight it out there. But otherwise, till next time, cheers.